Welcome to Horror Makes Us Happy, the podcast where we ask the question, what is it about horror that makes us happy? Your hosts are Steve Becker and myself, Chris Whitman, and you can find out more about all this stuff at our website, horrormakesushappy.com. Before we get started, a little information for you and the listeners. Here are your trigger warnings. We're going to be talking about horror movies, which could involve anything from murder, rape, suicide, child abuse. There will be F-bombs. So if you're not prepared for that, please take care of yourself. But if you are prepared for that, listen to us talk about a whole bunch of fucked up shit and really gory shit and just fucking really fucked up shit.
And away we go.
And away we go. Today's guest is Stephen Biro, author, director, producer, and founder of Unearthed Films. Best known for the American Guinea Pig series, as well as a bunch of awesome books. I believe there's one about cooking dead babies. It's a good read. Yeah. Welcome, Stephen. Glad to have you. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Before we get started, is there anything you're currently working on that you like to plug or talk about?
Oh, shit. Oh, man, that's like an open-ended question.
Next ADP film. Excuse me, I have something in my throat.
Yeah. We're working on the new American Guinea Pig film.
So psyched.
I was just on set last week. It was fucking rough. Probably the roughest thing I've ever shot, just because all sorts of stuff happened. We'll leave it at that, but we also got the Unearthed toy line coming up. That's going to be interesting because it's going to be action figures that shouldn't be action figures.
Yes.
We're starting off with the American Guinea Pig, Bouquet of Guts and Gore. The lead killer in it, by the name of 8 the Chosen One. A lot of people excited. Then we're going to follow up with Milos from Serbian film. And then I think we're going to go with The Untold Story, Anthony Wong, and that classic movie. And we're going to be going around and making all sorts of toys for fucked up shit that shouldn't be toys.
That sounds awesome.
I think that's awesome. And then the thing is, we got a lot of films lined up. We haven't even announced them yet, so maybe I'll drop a blunder and maybe you guys will get like the first crack at it, just because there were working on so many films, which is great. We had a great year last year. And having a great year means we can actually become greater.
Exactly.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to pick up bigger films and other films. And the thing is, a lot of people don't know what we actually do behind the scenes. And we handle a lot of other films and we sell them to a lot of the other companies. Shout Factory, Scream Factory, Vinegar, we sell to everybody. Because it depends on the title, because I don't want to spend $100,000 to release a movie.
Okay.
Oh my God. $100,000?
That's a lot of money.
You know how much cocaine I could buy? That's a joke, people. That's a joke.
But if you do know where to find it, no.
So that's we have so many titles coming up. We got Untold Story just hit. Then we had Torched. That's coming out December 13th. And that was Ryan Nicholson's first film. And we've been handling the whole plot digger library for his family since Ryan has passed away. Rest in peace. And we're actually finalizing and fixing Gutterballs 2. And Big Fucking Monster for the Indiegogo people who prepaid for Gutterballs 2 and 3, but 3 was never shot. So what we're doing is we're putting out all of Nicholson's movies, and we're hoping that, we make enough money to pay for fixing the 2 movies that the Indiegogo backers have paid for already ahead of time. And we'll be replacing, Gutterballs 3 with Big Fucking Monster. That's never had a release. It's sort of a clusterfuck, if you will.
Well, the theme of this podcast actually is less about your work and more about you as an individual.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry, it's gonna be a short one now.
Yeah, right. The idea is that if we interview enough people, we might find some interesting common themes about why they enjoy horror, but also might find some unexpected ones, and that's cool too. To that end, for this interview, we'll be asking basically 3 sets of questions. The same questions again, related to childhood, teenage years, and then adulthood. And the reason for that is sometimes when you come at things from different angles, sometimes it triggers memories that you've forgotten. But that said, it's not meant to be a therapy session. So if there's anything that we ask that you don't want to answer, you can just say pass and move on.
Oh man, you guys are opening up a barrel of monkeys.
That's the idea. That's what we do.
Good.
But in a fun way.
Yes. So starting with childhood, what are some of your memories? What are your first memories of scary things?
My mother used to, instead of the tooth fairy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a quarter or $1, she would actually put what we would call rubber googlies under my pillow, and it could be anything from a rubber Frankenstein to a rubber dragon or a snake or something. So,
are you talking about those things that you would stick on your finger, and they were a little rubber face, and they had the googly floppy arms?
No, like a real rubber Frankenstein. It was like about 1.5 feet long.
Jesus,
wow,
that's pretty big.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty big for a rubber Frankenstein. It was awesome, and she, I mean, my mom loved horror, but we're talking 60s, 70s, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it was sort of goofy horror,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Spiders and bats.
Yeah. So she would, I mean, I woke up and I had a bat underneath my pillow for wisdom tooth or first tooth, not wisdom tooth. That's older, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
And if you happen to get one of those that fall out, you got problems.
Yeah. But it was a really cool rubber bat. Had all sorts of like little rubber stuff connected to it to make it feel like fuzzy, but it wasn't. Basically, it was my mom that pushed the horror genre on me by accident. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she know what she created?
Yeah, she did not have no clue what she created. I mean,
no, I mean now. Does she know what she created now?
She passed in 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2008. Yeah. And it was a bittersweet moment. So yes, that's rough.
It is.
But on a lighter note, before she passed, I mean, it was still into the aughts, and you were producing at that point. So, to Steve's question, did she at least get to recognize what a monster she created in her son?
Not really, and not really. I mean, she knew I was writing books, and she was happy that I found God, and she was. I gave her copies. I'm like, hey, Mom, here's a movie released. It's called Aftermath.
You're gonna love it. It's got a doctor in it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's fucked up, but you're gonna love it. And I don't. And the thing is, I gave her a bunch of DVDs from the beginnings of Unearthed. Yeah, she was so old. And when I say so old, I mean she was like 64, 63 at the time. She didn't know how to operate the DVD player. So she couldn't watch anything that I was doing. So yeah, she didn't know the monster that she created. But the rest of you guys do.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my dad, totally separate individual. He's like the Felix Unger of the Odd Couple. We ate mostly fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which are healthy and this and that, and salads and da-da-da. Yeah. And once a week we get a roasted chicken, but he was so anal retentive on fucking being clean that it just drove me nuts. And he used to be on our newsletter. And yeah, I got the email to where he's canceling to see the email from us.
Because you don't contact him enough? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I mean, we're estranged. Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just because, divorce. From the 70s, it wasn't like the co-parenting thing that everybody tries really heavy now. So it was like, so I was pretty much estranged from my dad. But, I still talk to him now and then. Especially now during this whole damn plague thing. I call him once a month. Just see how he's doing. And it's always the same shit. And he's a very, wants to be a healthy individual. I mean, guy doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't fuck, doesn't, just takes care of himself. And then he bitches to me all the time about not feeling all right, getting older. Oh, I can't play tennis anymore. I can't do this. I hurt my back. And it's just always like just downer type of thing. Yeah. And then the fucked up thing is I could go off on about my dad if you guys really want to get the psychological meat of me.
Only if it involves horror.
Well, that's okay.
Or not.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
My dad, holy fuck, he's been threatening to kill himself since I was in the 4th grade. And he's always like, oh, I'm not going to be in a nursing home. I'm going to kill myself, blah, 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 blah. I mean, shit. I think even last time I talked to him, because he bought himself a Corvette with cash, because that's my dad, right?
Okay.
And I'm like going, okay, I think my dad's going to fucking like dive off a fucking cliff in the vet. I don't know how the insurance will work.
That's not covered.
You're not going to get the vet either way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like going, and the thing is, he's threatened to kill himself my whole life. Just when he gets to that point to where he's like, okay, I'm losing my mind. This is time to go. Blah, blah, blah. To where I'm like, okay, Dad, well, just if you can, do it in the bathtub or something so we don't have to, tear out all the fucking carpets and the drywall and shit. And
appeal to his Felix Unger side. Be like, you don't want to make a mess.
Yeah, Dad, and I'm like, okay, so the last time I talked to him, he told me he's going to set up a nice table in the backyard because there's no fence. You can see all the other neighbors. And he's going to clean his guns out there.
Oh.
And I'm like...
Oh, I thought you're going to... Well, he could be referring to that, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, Dad, that's great, because I don't want you sitting around rotting for a couple of days. If you go do it in the fucking woods or something. I mean, how do you... With a parent who's telling you this constantly through your whole life, how do you take it after, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, imagine after so many years you get desensitized to it, and just like you said, after a while you're just like, all right, well, don't make a mess. Make sure your body doesn't stay there for weeks.
That's it. I'm like, Dad, I'm supposed to move into the house after you leave, so make sure you do it on the fucking driveway or something.
Well, I mean, clearly he needs help that you're not qualified to give.
Oh my God, no. I mean, my dad hates doctors, period. And he's like, he called me up. I guess he was riding on a 10 speed a couple of years ago, and he hit something. He took a tumble. He had to go in and get 10 stitches. And he's like, motherfuckers, I could have fucking stitched myself up for free. He's like, I'm not going to the doctor ever again. And I'm like, okay, Dad, cool. More power to you. But then I'm also the same way too. I don't go to doctors either.
Yeah, probably one of the most difficult situations to deal with is somebody who needs the help, but also has certain beliefs that preclude them from getting help. And that's not just medical; it's also mental and all kinds of different things. That's a very common thing, unfortunately, and there's only so much you can do about it because the help that you get, particularly when it comes to mental health, it has to be consensual is not the word I want to use, but change does have to come from within. And if you're not really wanting it, then it's not going to help you. So, you can't force somebody to do that. It's not an easy situation.
No, it's not. No, it's not, kind sir. I mean, that's all I can look at it and just like, okay, that's the thing. And I'm prepared for it. That's the only shitty thing is that, like, I got to be ready for the call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's sort of rough, It's like, okay, when is he going? When do you figure out you're mentally unstable enough to where you're like, I'm out?
Or mentally unstable enough where you, as his next of kin, can, what's the word I'm looking for?
Oh, Baker Act, all that shit. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean...
are you from Florida?
Yeah, he's in Florida, so it's No, I'm in California now.
I said, are you from Florida?
Mostly.
Okay. I was just surprised that you knew what Baker acting was.
Oh, well, because Florida.
Is that only a Florida thing? I thought it was nationwide. Is that like a Florida law?
Well, there's different phrases for it in other places, but the Baker Act is the name for it in Florida. Okay. Because it was named after somebody named Baker.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's kind of funny. I'm already thinking, most of these interviews, it does take, in some cases, quite some time to unravel what it is that somebody in particular likes about horror or what their personal connection to it is. But this might be the shortest call ever. It sounds like you have a very good, your finger on the pulse of, where this comes from for yourself, at least.
Oh yeah,
with good reason. I mean,
oh yeah, no, it's I grew up hating life, and there's a time that I just want to see everybody dead, but I love everybody. I know people fuck up.
What might be interesting on this call. So there's usually two potential things that cause anybody to be attracted to anything. So there's the attraction, there's a desire, and also a fear. So whatever it is that you love, whether it's horror in this case, or skydiving, or what have you, you can either be attracted to it for some reason that you like it, or you could be moving in that direction because you're trying to move away from something else. We can kind of understand in your case, maybe the attraction is, your mom had a positive experience with horror. She appreciated it and shared that appreciation with you. And it sounds like maybe the moving away from part is moving away from your father that had, the negative side of all the drama related to the bad things that could happen in life. But, focusing on the good parts, we could probably talk about your experiences growing up and the different, we've got a whole list of questions here, normally trying to weed out what it is that you like or dislike. But, that might be still interesting to go through this list of questions just to discuss your experiences with horror, in the sense of, like I just said, we've got a good grasp on why, the negative parts about it, but there seem to be, at least in your case, also some good parts, because obviously, you're making a living at doing it. So there's, it sounds like there could still be stuff to talk about.
Oh no, there is. Don't worry, pal.
So other than your mother and father,
the surface, man.
Right. We're still in childhood here.
You're right. So other than your mother and father, again, referring mainly to childhood here, what other experiences related to horror jump out at you as being impacting on your childhood?
You'll find this funny because this is a weird one.
Okay.
My mom got remarried, and my dad had a back problem because I was only with him for about a year and a half. He was actually teaching me shit, right? Teaching me how to tell time, how to save money, right? And My mom got married to another guy, and he was a drunkard times 10. And my dad didn't know this, but he was like, "Oh wow, okay, that's the kids need a mother and a father, so here you go." So me and my sister went to my mom, and this guy was such a fucking drunk. Holy shit, he would get fired from drinking on the job, and
Nice.
then he'd put out the resume and get hired in Nebraska, South Carolina. So I always moved around. Even in New York, where I was born, I think I've moved around 14 different times before I was even 12.
You and I are very similar in that manner. One of the things that I had to do for counseling is actually figure out how many times I had moved, and counting it out, I had moved I think 13 times by the time I was 10.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's terrible because you're the new kid. Everybody's staring at you, so. I built up this fucked up persona, which works for me well nowadays, because I can be dropped in any situation and fit in and meld in.
Yeah.
So that's the only good thing.
And it doesn't bother you if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole thing. It was like moving around that much. New school, new friends. Oh, wait, no, those are not your friends anymore. Now a new school, another friends, blah, 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 blah. So it was nice when I finally moved to Florida and was there since I was 14 until 49, 48 maybe. And even there I moved around a fuck ton too. But it was for work reasons. I built a comic book store, I built a video store that was really fucked up, but it didn't work back in 2000. My friend Mike Sandlin at Grindhouse Video, he opened up a cult video store in Tampa, and he's killing it. That son of a
Chris,
bitch.
is that the same person that we've talked about?
Yep. Yeah, we're trying to get him on the podcast too.
Oh no, he great motherfucker.
Yeah.
I trusted him. I had him do Indiegogo shipping for me for the first 2 movies. Fucking phenomenal guy. And the thing is, he tells me his sales numbers for the day. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I'm like, that's not even close to what I would make in a month at my own cult video store.
Well, to be fair, is he talking about gross or net? Because those are 2 different things.
Gross. Yeah.
Okay.
His net was smaller than mine.
Yes, there you go.
I did it in 2000. And I opened up a cult video store in Ybor City, which is the party town.
Yep.
And I figured we'd do great with the waitresses and the bartenders ordering, renting fucked up shit, but nobody gave a fuck. And the internet was still newish. I had back then, I had a fledgling bootleg company. I shouldn't.
It's funny now that you're bitching about people.
Well, yeah, no, I'm bitching. Well, because it's 20 years later, man.
Just fucking with you.
No. It's 100% true. Back then, with like shoddy VHS bootlegs, the shit looked bad. You'd get a 5th generation bootleg, but you were thrilled to see it. But it didn't stop you from buying the new DVD that came out.
Yeah,
and that's when.
And everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. I was bootlegging the shit, and I got hit up by the fucking guys who were handling the Guinea Pig series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, awesome. Sell me the rights to the fucking movies. And they offered, it was like a stupid, ridiculous amount. It was like $80,000. And I'm like, no, I got to start a company. I got to do the authoring and this and that and this and that. And fuck you. But, let's do it. We'll start the company 50-50. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And he hangs up on me. But then 30 days later, hey, how about this? And he offered it to me for $10,000.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
That's a big drop, yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, well, I got to start a website and do the authoring, blah, 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 all these costs. I got to, how about we just do it 50-50? And he's like, no, and he hangs up.
Next week, 5,000.
Yeah, but 30 days later, he calls me back. He's like, okay, so we're going to start a company. I'm like, yeah, here, I'll figure out a name for it. And yeah, let's do this. And that's how Unearthed Films was born.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that didn't come along until much later in your adulthood.
Well, yeah, I was like 30, 31, 32. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. Coming back to childhood. So you mentioned that there was something we said, your mother or father, what else was memorable in your childhood? And you said you had something really funny, and then we kind of went off on a tangent.
Oh, yeah. It was my stepdad.
Okay.
We lived in Nebraska at the time. And I was saving up money to buy a fucking motorbike. Okay. Enduro, something that, because it was snow and fucking this and that. Mm-hmm. Motherfucker buys me a German fucking moped.
Okay.
To where I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Was it a Vespa?
No. You actually had to pedal it to get it going.
Oh, okay. It was a moped. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a moped. Yeah. And this guy, he comes out into the garage while I'm cleaning the moped, and he's drunk as shit. And he walks up to a beer that's sitting there with spider webs on it.
Oh.
It's about half full, and he picks it up. I see the spider webs stretch and break, and he drinks it, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Nectar of the gods, Steve. Nectar of the gods." And I was like, yeah.
Your nectar might have been there for a while, buddy. You might want to check that for chunks.
It was there. Yeah.
I mean, it was fermented before he got to it, so.
Yeah.
But I would have been checking for things like cigarette butts.
Well, I mean, my mom smoked, my stepdad smoked, my real father doesn't do fucking shit. To where I'm like, Dad, if you're bitching about getting too old, you should probably pick up smoking or something.
Maybe it'll help. Who knows?
Yeah. And the only thing is that with my mother, I watched her waste away. Mm-hmm. She believed she had MS. Doctors couldn't prove it. She was on Xanax, and she was on tons of fucking medication. I mean, holy shit, and she tried to kill herself a couple of times. I moved back in with her after, I think, the first time, maybe the second, I forget. But I watched her basically waste her life away just because life beat her up.
Yeah.
And, and I saw her, and I'm like, Mom, just try to think a little bit more positive. And it was always Debbie Downer type shit,
Yeah.
So, so I want to make sure that I don't do that.
Right.
Because
my mom struggled with depression her whole life too. And, it's kind of sad because now after, the age of COVID-19, there's so much more stuff that's immediately available online. So as long as you have an internet connection, you can get so much more help than you were able to even 2-3 years ago. And I wish my mother had been, managed to live long enough to see it now, because now she might have been able to get some of the help that she could have had before.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. I mean, our society is really fucking stupid if we actually step back and think about it.
Yeah.
That shit should have been available back in 20 years ago, as soon as the internet was there,
Yeah.
We shouldn't have had to wait until a pandemic, right?
Well, the two issues are money and what's the other phrase I'm looking for? Not mass support, but critical mass. There's a lot of services out there that were really struggling because you didn't have the critical mass necessary to support it. But with everything going the way it has now, there's so many other people that now need those services that
now we have the critical mass.
Yeah.
And that's why our society is stupid.
Well,
I mean,
that's a whole nother podcast.
It is. No, it is.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem,
So was there, again, going back to childhood, was there anything that you experienced in childhood that actually scared you?
Besides the rubber bat.
I will say maybe Jaws.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not the first one to say that. I think Jessie Seitz said Jaws was one of her early fears,
yes.
didn't she?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was staying with my dad at the time, had two friends, went over to a friend's house, and he's like, check this out. And he turned on his TV, and Jaws was on because he had like early HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, watched the last part of it, and holy shit, when Quinn got, you know, we were like, oh my God, what's going on? Is your heart beating like mine? And everybody's touching their hearts and shit. They're going, oh my God, what's going on here? So yeah, so that was my first flip out. I think the only second other flip out I had was Blood Sucking Freaks when I was 16.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
That one, oh God. Directed by Joel Reed, and it's about some masochistic, effeminate guy with a black midget, and they would torture these women beyond belief. I mean, like, throwing darts in the middle of their assholes and shit,
Okay.
Just looked it up. Really, this is 76, so that's some pretty hardcore shit for 76.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's it's a crazy movie, and it was really very snuffy because they'd like get these women that they kidnapped and torture them on stage, and everybody thought it was an act, but supposedly it's not because of movie magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that one got me going.
Yeah,
it's like the scene from Interview with a Vampire.
Oh yeah, where they kill the woman on stage and everybody thinks it's part of the play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's so mainstream. I mean,
a little bit.
Excuse me.
The only cool thing was that my stepfather, in his drunken disability, stole one of the first VCRs from Sears and Roebuck.
That's a big deal, man. Those things were like $500 when they first came out.
No,
and they're huge,
dude. They were like 3,000 to 4,000.
Jesus.
This was like 2000. No. 1978, 79. So when I moved in, there was a VCR there, and we would have to drive like 45 minutes to the nearest fucking rental store.
No shit.
And the rental store was about as big as your bathroom.
Yep.
And, it just had, all the VHS tapes were like separated by 5 inches on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're like, oh, Evil Dead, this sounds like a good movie. Oh, Phantasm, this sounds like a good movie. And then my parents, we rented Flesh for Frankenstein, which is Andy Warhol. Have you ever saw that?
No.
Oh, it's fucked up. You must fuck life in the gallbladder, and then he's fucking a dead corpse. And I'm sitting there with the two parents going, doop-doo-doo-doo, because it's very sexual.
Right? And like, how old were you at this point?
Oh, I was like 14.
Okay.
So, so it's like I'm watching Andy Warhol's Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula. I mean, you only had so much to rent in that one place, so we went through it all.
Yep.
And
it says something though, that the VHS is cutting edge technology, yet still some of the first video cassettes you're able to get are classic horrors like that.
Well, I'm also wondering if this is in New York, there's a lot of places, particularly in the city, where, stores are just tiny up there.
Yeah.
Oh, this was in Nebraska.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Nebraska.
Scratch that.
But still, there wasn't a lot of VHS tapes because back then, VHS tapes cost $75 to $80.
Yeah.
That's
why they did the rental thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the market stayed that way, and that's how everybody made money back in those days.
Although, actually, I mean, if you really want to get to it, the reality was they didn't cost that much. But what they were doing is they were selling the machine cheaply, and then they said, "We'll get you on the tapes," just like they're doing now, or with inkjet printers. Mm-hmm. It's the printer that costs more than the ink, but they sell you the printer cheap, and then they get you on the ink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just like how Tommy Chong would sell water pipes with extras that come with them. Yeah. Yep.
So let's see. When you were a kid, did you participate in Halloween?
Oh, how could you not? Fucking free candy, man.
There you go.
Did you have a favorite costume? Least favorite costume?
No, I remember I was Frankenstein one year, and that was with the plastic vinyl. Fucking,
always with the plastic masks.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then I actually started.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was like, ooh, there's better masks out there. And I think I bought a stupid witch one. I don't know why I was a witch. Could have been a male witch. Man witch. It was a man witch.
You're a sandwich? What?
Exactly. I was a sandwich one year. Yeah. Nothing that stands out. I mean, I remember I found a bootleg Iron Maiden Eddie mask, but it had the hood
awesome.
on top of it, but it had the Peace of Mind type of metal staples around his head. And I took off the fucking hood, and yeah, the metal staples went all around the head, looked fucking great. I think I was like 16, 17 at the time and shit, so. But then I didn't trick or treat either at that time, so yeah.
Slight tangent, because I know we're getting off on several tangents, and I'll keep this quick, but I'm just browsing through the pictures on Flesh for Frankenstein. Holy shit, Udo Kier. He is so young in this.
Oh,
I had no idea that was him.
Fuck yeah, no. And he was also in Blood for Dracula.
Yeah?
Amazing, because he's like, I will only drink virgin bread.
Yeah, that's his voice.
Yeah.
What is he, like 20? That's insane.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. And the only problem is with that movie, the reason why we haven't released it is the owner, he's got dementia.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with that a number of occasions.
I imagine you
Did you have any group of friends that you hung out with as a kid? I mean, I know that your mom liked horror, but did you have any other friends that liked horror?
Yeah, like you kind of mentioned when you were watching Jaws. That's kind of like a follow-up statement whenever we ask this question. It's always good to watch a scary movie with friends because you have that moment where you can look over at a friend. Like, is your heart beating as fast as mine? So it sounds like you did have a horror crew, as I like to call it.
No, well, the Jaws guys, I think I was out of there after 2 months.
Okay.
So they weren't really friends, and I bounced around like a lot to where like horror was just mine. And then when I got to Florida, and then, I had all my stoner buddies, and that's the thing, I floated between a lot of different groups. You had the Metallica guys group, you had the Slayer guys, you had the Anthrax guys, you had all sorts of different groups, and I would like float like a butterfly between them all.
Right.
But then when they'd come over to my house, I'm like, hey, you want to see something fucked up? Yeah. And the funny thing is I'm friends with a bunch of my high school friends on Facebook. And they're just like, dude, what the fuck?
What the fuck happened to you? What do you mean what the fuck happened to me? I've always been this way.
Yeah, well, no, they're all like, yeah, dude, no, your earlier self was like if you talk to your earlier self would be very happy with you. Mine would be like, dude, total boner over here. Way to go, man.
Dude, you're fucking killing it.
Right. Okay, but no group of friends that particularly focused on horror, at least in your childhood.
No, it wasn't until fucking like
adulthood.
Yeah. Until
or at
I
least
was
adolescence.
like 28, 29, before I opened the video store up, to where I had good close personal friends that were all pure horror. It's like they'd be able to ramble off to you all of Fulci's films.
Nice.
And when I say all of them, I mean like fucking all of them. To where you're like, what the fuck? That was his TV movie. And it was a romance. Don't tell me that. So yeah, so around the 30s is when I had like the batch of friends who were like horror hounds, and they knew Chaz Bowen personally. If you guys don't know who he is,
it's a Chris thing.
Yeah, I'm feeling it every one of these today.
Yeah, no, you're here with one of the oldest schooled horror guys, right?
That makes me feel better about failing.
Yeah. Chaz Bowen was the editor for Gore Zone magazine for a while. and early Fango guy, and he was the gorehound. He actually coined the phrase gorehound.
Okay.
And a great guy. He was bootlegging back when I was bootlegging to where we were trading shit and stuff. And he wrote sequels to Dario Argento movies and some other shit that never got made. He was actually on the set of Society.
Oh.
Brian,
what was his name?
Society?
I know Society. I do at least know that one.
Okay, yeah. He was on the set for that. I think he has a big fake plastic penis tongue in his mouth.
Nice.
But he was like the the extreme side of horror. If you knew who Chaz Ballin was, then you're instant friends with the other person.
Okay.
That was like the password to be in with.
Yeah. That was like, it's like, oh, you're not just one of those Jason Michael Myers dudes. You actually know real horror, which is the fucked up shit like Cannibal Holocaust and Gates of Hell and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So it's like, if he came up in a conversation, you were instant friends with the other person because it was such a small section of the horror industry.
Right.
And you can say, if I say Tony Timpone, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Nope.
Oh, Jesus.
Get in front on that one. I know.
Okay, he was the main editor for Fangoria for way too many years.
Oh, see, you're getting literary. Chris is not a literary guy. He's a more movie guy.
I don't read books. Books are for nerds.
Except he's writing one now.
Oh, nice. What's it about?
Well, I'm writing more of a comic book. It's the whole Pieces thing about a family of cannibal ghouls that live underneath North Brother Island, torture people, eat them, dismember their body parts.
The usual.
As one does.
Yeah, I mean, I got into the book thing for a bit there. Yeah. We won't go into it much because that's a whole other episode.
That is a whole other couple of podcasts.
Yeah,
I've thought about writing before, because, I mean, it'd be fun to try my hand at that. But, man, writing's hard. You got to write, like, hundreds of pages and shit. Screenplays are one thing, but books are, they got to be at least an inch thick.
Yeah.
So to jump back to childhood for a minute, did you experience anything that triggered any kind of lasting phobias for you? And if not, that's fine. It's just a question that I have.
I mean, I refuse to stick my dick in a hole. I don't know what's on the other side, So, I mean,
did something happen to you in childhood that triggered that?
No. That's just
there was just one truck stop glory hole, and
yeah, I just know, but maybe abandonment in a way, just because of the whole, divorce thing. Parent left, never heard from him at all, and yeah. So maybe,
I could understand that if it was your mom that you didn't hear from, but
my mom wasn't that great either.
Well, true too.
I mean, we lived together, and basically it was just, I mean, we had an open dialogue to where we could talk about weird stuff that parents don't want to talk about. But, and the thing is, that was when she was going down the fucking hole with, fucking everything, to where it was like, okay, like, she's not taking her own advice, so don't listen to her.
Okay.
Especially my dad. Especially my dad. Yeah, his advice is terrible. He hit me up 2 years ago. Hey, Steve, you know what? I know you're selling horror movies, but I think you ought to buy a bunch of these fucking bootleg Chinese Versace purses from China. And I think you need to sell purses. And I'm like, Dad, I'm doing the horror thing. But thank you for that bit of advice.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got to go with what you know.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm like, Versace purses? I don't know nothing.
So it's funny you say that, because back in the 2000s, my grandmother had a couple strokes, and at one point my family wanted to rent out the extra room to whoever they wanted to find somebody who could live there and help take care of her. And a lot of my stuff was in the closet there because I lived there with her for a while. And at the time, I had bought a couple things on eBay, and it was, this new thing. So I wound up turning around and selling a bunch of my stuff, made like $600 in like a month and a half, and thought to myself, well, actually, no, it was $1,200. And I thought to myself, I could either, put this all towards bills, or I could blow all of it, or I could put half of it towards bills and try to take the other half and make some sort of a business out of it. And did a bunch of research. And my choices were either I could buy and resell clothing in bulk and then sell it as individual, or I could buy memory upgrades for laptops in bulk and individually sell those. And memory, of course, I went with the memory because I know computers. I don't know clothing. But yeah, same concept. You got to go with what you know.
Yeah.
So you're making a living off the memory?
Well, no, not now, but I was for probably about 5 years.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Until Hong Kong got in the act and they drove all the prices down. But yeah.
That's good. I'm expecting to be a used car salesman when the horror thing dies.
Right.
There you go. Something,
or at least the collectors die.
That'll never happen.
I was going to say, I have a feeling horror is always going to be around. That's a human thing.
Oh no, yeah, horror will always be there, but for us specialty labels,
yeah,
it's why you're seeing like Scream Factory. Oh, hey, buy it from us, and you get a poster, and you get this like fake dildo, and you get this thing too.
There's no such thing as a fake dildo.
Well,
anything is a dildo if you try hard enough.
But and the thing is, we're about ready to start doing that ourselves. Hey, buy this limited edition, you'll get the fucking replica butcher knife.
Did you have any reoccurring nightmares when you were a kid?
Nope. Okay. Enjoyed them all. Whenever I had a fucked up nightmare, fucking it was awesome. I think the best nightmares I had was when I had fever dreams because I was sick. One of them, I was in a barrel going over Niagara Falls.
Okay.
That sucked. And when I hit, that's when I woke up. The other one, fever dream that I really enjoyed, was my body, the fucking veins started bursting out of my fucking flesh. And they were like, spraying blood everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that was cool. I woke up. I was like, what the fuck? I got to put that in the movie. So it's in a screenplay.
Nice. Like little tiny fire hoses.
Yeah. So no reoccurring cool. I think I fucked Madonna once. That was cool.
Huh.
It was when she had the ponytail. She had blonde ponytail. It was on the roof on a dirty mattress.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but okay.
It sounds accurate.
How about reoccurring themes in dreams?
No. I'm usually flying around, fucking talking to dragons, fucking watching aliens, fucking blow the shit out of fucking cities. But like I'm on the top of the mountain to where you can see everything in a vista to where it's like, wow, look at that shit.
Dude, you have awesome dreams. I'm jealous. I mean, it's probably due to certain intake of certain things that help me fall asleep, but I typically only remember like clips of dreams, like quick seconds here and there. It's not you have dreams that are fucking full movies.
Yeah. I mean, that's so I love the dreamscape because my dreams are just like so open ended to where it's like, I mean, the weirdest thing was when I was talking to that damn dragon. He was talking in dragon speak, and I could hear it. He would speak in dragon speak, but I would hear it fucking translated in my head.
Have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
I
said, have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
Oh, I love Rick and Morty. The
episode about the dragons.
Yeah, did you and the dragon? Did the dragon try and coerce you into a certain orgy of some sort, or
no,
don't do it?
I was saving the planet. Come on, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we may still be talking about childhood dreams here, so
Here, take this orb. No, these are adult dreams. I mean, I don't have anything that reoccurs. It's just always a fucking crazy ass fucking. I'm jumping 20 meters in the air, landing on fucking telephone poles, shit like that. Yeah. I mean, I wish I had recurring dreams, and that would probably mean that I have a holdup in my psychic abilities.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I was just thinking about something actually that kind of ties into that, which is, we've talked, a lot of the questions that we have here relate to fears and negative things. But the very next thing I wanted to ask you was to start talking about some of the positive things. What were some of your positive experiences with horror as a child or in your teenage years?
Oh, it's just, I loved it. And, it got me over the hump of wanting to kill everybody on top of a bell tower with a sniper rifle.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
It's a healthy creative outlet,
Yeah.
For those urges.
It's you could see all the death and murder that you want to happen in the safety of your own home. I mean, I've had a number of people hit me up during the conventions, and they're like, "Dude, if I didn't have the outlet of the movies you put out, I'd be on top of a bell tower." And I'm like, "Dude, me too."
It's like you're doing a public service when you put it that way.
Yeah. So basically, I think what I'm doing is I'm giving people a healthy outlet to get out some of their transgressive thoughts and some of their own nightmares to personally make them real to where they're not doing stupid shit,
Yeah, like now I don't have to go slit someone's eye open with a razor blade. I know what it looks like.
Exactly. No, it's well, that's a little bit more detailed, but
He's a little confused, but his heart's in the right place.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, going back to what I said earlier about, the fears versus desires,
mm-hmm.
Is there anything in particular that you see as a common thread in the types of horror that you like in terms of, metaphysical versus, gore versus zombie versus, do you see some sort of common thread that you go, yeah, I like this?
Oh, for me, yeah, it's the war between devil and God.
Okay.
I'm a theologian because I met them both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know you could say that I was fucking drugged out of my fucking mind, and I was.
That sometimes helps.
But there was a time when I was searching for God, taking massive amounts of LSD and nitrous oxide, and
the wrong one showed up.
Oh well, the wrong one showed up, but masquerading as something holy.
Got it.
And and it's really fucked up. And I wrote 3 different books about it because it affected me so much. I mean, it changed me as a person. 100%. It was just like boom, that one day, wham. And so for me, it's about the fight between morality and sin and fucking, God and the devil, heaven and hell. And I love that. And personally, I like to bring that into every aspect of my filmmaking.
Okay.
I mean, Bouquet of Guts and Gore, the 2 chicks on the beds who we rip apart, one's Christian and the other one's not. One's a mother, one's the daughter. Mm-hmm. Daughter is not Christian. That's why she gets the red LSD. And the other one is Christian. I mean, we yank a cross off her, off her neck. Mm-hmm. And the killer's like, I'll give this back to you when you need it. And it's during her, while her heart's exposed and it's beating for the last time, he puts the cross back on her heart on the last beat. Yeah. To me, that's beautiful. It's like the battle between heaven and hell will always, I mean, it's in Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. It's in Bouquet. It was supposed to be in Bloodshot, but me and the director had a misunderstanding. But it's definitely in Song of Solomon.
Oh, yeah.
Have either of you guys seen that?
I was there on set during filming.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, shit. Okay. I'm sorry.
It was a while ago. There were a lot of people on set. I was really
yeah. Well, also, my memory is not as fucking sharp as it used to be.
That happens.
So I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that you're really fascinated with this whole good and evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
is there any? Do you have any idea why it is that you're interested in that?
Well, yeah, because I met God and the devil. Fuck.
I thought you were saying that you were interested in that before they showed up.
Well, no, I wasn't. I was an atheist.
Okay.
And then I hit a time in my life to where I'm like, okay, something's fucking up. Something's not right, or something was 100% right. And I got to find my creator. And what did I come up with? Take the most drugs you possibly can, get on top of the mountain and see what happens. And that's what I did.
I'm going to ask two different questions here. One is,
who is your favorite movie, and what does he do?
Yeah, right. One is, what's your favorite movie? But then the second question is, what movie have you watched more times than any other? Because that might not be the same as your favorite movie.
My go-to lately has been Make Them Die Slowly, aka Cannibal Ferox.
Okay.
Which is this? Is this your favorite, or the one that you've seen more often than any other?
My favorite.
Okay.
And I would also have to say Gates of Hell.
Okay.
Gates of Hell and Cannibal Ferox, Italian. Now the one that I watch the most, that's a rough one. Just because the thing is, being a bootlegger, I used to watch shit all the motherfucking time. Because I was recording it.
Okay, not counting bootlegging. Just individual viewing. What movie have you watched more than any other?
Could have been Evil Dead. It could have been Evil Dead 2.
Okay, that's a good one.
Could have been Evil Dead 2. Because, I watched it when it first hit VHS. Same thing with Bad Taste. Yeah. Bad Taste is up there. The uncut Dead Alive, Brain Dead, was up there just because whenever somebody would come over, I'd be like, dude, we're getting stoned here. We're watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's watch this. So, yeah. Okay. So I would say it's either Hellraiser 2 or Evil Dead 2.
I like Hellraiser 2 because, it's a nice, neat package with the recap in the beginning. You almost don't even have to watch the first one.
Yeah, the first one's great, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they were doing after that. I know the budgets went down, but what the fuck? I'm wanting to hit up the company who fucking made that shitty Hellraiser version and say, dude, here I am. I got an FX crew.
Fucking let Unearthed take a crack at it. Everybody else has by now.
Yeah, dude, I can pull this shit off. Hey, Texas Chainsaw motherfuckers. Hey, what are you doing?
Maybe you could even get Doug Bradley back in the franchise.
Stop hiring people that don't even know the fucking movie franchise.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm feeling my old age. I'm 51 now. And it's always interesting because, we're getting all these new fans and shit. And I'm seeing on Facebook, hey, everybody, I'm watching Evil Dead 2 for the first time.
And you're like, oh, that's cute.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait, how old are you? Okay, you're 28. I'm like, okay, I forgive you. But it's just so interesting now because, I've been doing this shit for fucking ever. Yeah. And would watch all the Bela Lugosi and the Vincent Price and the Abbott and Costello versus the Mummy and all that crap. And, and then going to like the first of the VHS days to where your parents will rent something to where they're deeply ashamed while watching it with them. Yeah. To, turning on people in my high school days like, dude, have you heard of this thing called The Beyond? What's that? Here. It's called fucking the 7 Doors of Death. And, and show and people, So as the years went on, and I'm seeing all these newbies come in. And it's amazing. It's great, but I'm always like, wait, what? I'm like, what? You're watching Hellraiser for the first time too? What the fuck's going on here? And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, awesome.
Welcome to the club.
Right.
Yeah, welcome to the club. And
we have such sights to show you.
Yeah, that's
ha ha ha.
That's the thing. people usually start out Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, and Chucky, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch that shit, fucking you're done within a couple of days. And then they're like, hey, what else is out there? And then they start watching like Wrong Turn or whatnot. And then they watch a bunch of that crap and they're not satisfied. And then they're like, wait, well, there's other movies from other countries, right? And then they get into Dario Argento and Fulci and Takashi Miike in Japan.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, there's more films out there. And then they get to the fucking Cannibal Holocaust, Make Them Die Slowly type of things, and they
Texas
get to
Chainsaw.
those other stuff, and I'm like sitting at the bottom waiting for him, going,
I'm over here.
I'm over here, and I got the goods that are gonna fuck you up, because that's the thing with horror movies. You watch them, you get the heart attack. You're like, but then you watch a bunch of the mainstream stuff, and you're like, okay, I don't get the thrill anymore. And then you watch some Argento shit and some Takashi Miike stuff, and then you're like, oh, I get the thrill again. And then you lose it. And then that's what I'm hoping is that then they end up coming to us.
Yeah.
Because we're at the bottom. We're proud of it.
I like how you don't consider it the top. We're at the bottom.
Yeah, we're at the bottom.
It's the other top. It's the top in the other direction.
Yes.
Yeah,
Any idea why you like the stuff that's so extreme?
Well, because you don't get a boner anymore. I mean,
just chasing the high.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you sat down and watched a horror movie and you're like, a lot?
Several. Yeah. I mean, I've discussed this on previous podcasts too. It always happens that way. You just like you said, you start off with the mainstream stuff, and unless you were grandfathered into it like yourself at an early age. But no, you start off with the mainstream stuff, and then you get more extreme, and then more extreme, and you do lose that high, and it just gets to the point where all you're doing is escalating, watching things that are more fucked up and more twisted and disgusting, and yeah, you get that, but yeah, you do lose that that high of shock, because after a while you're like, all right, yeah, they cut that person's testicles off and fed them to him. That's cool effects.
But yeah, I mean that's because in my bootleg days I used to do a lot of the extreme pervy porn shit. Ugh. Saw it
there is a lot of that.
My friends come over. I'm like, hey, dude, watch. This guy fucks a chicken till it's dead. Yeah. Movie's called Chicken Fucker. I don't know who it stars.
Imaginative title.
Yeah, no, I know.
Very creative.
So I've watched all that crap too, to where now when I watch a movie, I don't get that thrill. I don't get that buzz. And the only time I do get that thrill and that buzz is something that we're fucking making or I'm putting out, to where I know this is going to fuck people up. Basically, that's what it is. We got a movie called 29 Needles coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. No, seriously. Fuck, it's the most extreme thing I've ever seen. And anybody who's homophobic is going to have a really hard time. Even if you're straight and not homophobic, you're going to have a really hard time.
On one hand, I'm curious to ask. On the other hand, might be one of those things that it's better to leave for the audience to discover on their own.
Both.
Probably better to leave that one a mystery, yeah. Or both, yeah. I've seen a few of your posts on 29 Needles, and it looks absolutely horrific.
Oh, man.
In the best way.
It's a reverse Jacob's Ladder.
Ooh. Okay.
It's got a damn good story to it, and it's just about a guy trying to figure out who he is sexually, and he goes down the wrong fucking path, and fuck me. I was just like, fuck. I was like, fuck. I'm like, fuck.
I mean, fuck,
No
One more
boner
time.
for a week. I had no boner for a week.
Wow. That's a tagline on the DVD right there. After watching this film, I was unable to get a boner for a solid week. Sold.
No matter what I did, didn't matter. Nuns, nothing.
I mean, not even Brazilian fart porn. That always does it for me.
Oh no. Oh shit! I forget. One of the guys from one of the other labels. He he hits me up and he's like, "Dude, have you ever heard about Brazilian snot porn?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Here you go." And I'm like, "Thank you. I think."
Thank you? Question mark?
Thank you. I mean, I prefer like carrots and cucumbers. If you're gonna do something with some weird, do with some vegetables. At least you can have a nice salad when you're done.
Well, normally we close the interview by asking, two questions, which is, why horror? Once we've narrowed it down to what it is that you like about horror. In your case, the good versus evil thing really isn't very big in any other genre other than maybe sci-fi. But even when it is sci-fi that deals with good versus evil, it's either, how can I say this? It's not religious, or if it is religious, then it's got a horror theme to it or a horror tinge to it, kind of like, Event Horizon. It's sci-fi, but it's still horror.
Right.
And the other part of it, of the relationship with your mom and dad, obviously that she was a fan of horror, so you can't get that relation out of any other genre other than horror. So kind of narrows it down for you.
So your question
is answered.
Yeah, the question was answered halfway through this, really.
Yeah. That's what I said at the start of the call. I was like, this is going to be a short call.
Yeah.
Well, no, all you got to do is talk to me long enough and more shit will bubble up to the surface. I mean, I do that to plenty of my friends and they're just like, dude, fuck. But yeah, so, yeah. My mom brought me into it, but I want to kill masses of people, but I'm a nice guy and I can't do it.
There's just that constant wall of fucking morals. Why? Ugh.
Well, no, I know. No, I'm a good guy. It's like I give money to friends that need it. I blah, blah, blah. But
there's a difference between wanting to do something and doing it.
That was the one big thing on my old podcast, which was called Stephen and Brad the Podcast. And if there was a red shiny button in front of me to turn off society to make it all end, I would push that immediately.
Why is that?
We could have done better. Start over. Everything starts over anyway.
See, ending and starting over are two different things, though. You said end.
Yep.
And this iteration.
Boop, boop. And hope that there's a sequel.
Yeah.
I'm not the DJ. Okay. But if I had the opportunity to unplug his station and he'd be like, Fire, what the fuck are you doing? And he'd plug it back in and he's like, I gotta start over. Okay. Yeah, I'm all up for that.
Basically, it sounds like you're saying if you were the creator, you would look at everything right now and be like, get the eraser.
Yep.
Scrap it. We're starting over.
Yep, we're starting over.
Well, as Maynard likes to say, don't just call me a pessimist. Try to read between the lines.
Ooh, Tool reference. Nice.
Oh, I have hope. But, yeah, not a lot. And if that button was there, beep, 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 beep. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
no, I think if we were to reset, we would eventually find ourselves back in a similar situation because, just the nature of not just humanity, but nature itself. There are things that, going back to the God conversation, there are things that I think are necessary for propagating life and letting life sustain on a worldwide or global or universal level that wind up being negative at the personal level. But if you were to try to make everything perfect at the personal level, then the global level wouldn't work anymore and it would just all fail. So, it's, as Professor Joseph Campbell liked to say, it's, it's an opera. It's a painful opera, but it's still an opera. You have to appreciate it for what it is, because this is it. This is what we get, and if you can't accept that or affirm it, then it's you're choosing not to affirm life itself. It sucks, but it's the way it is.
Well, the funny thing is you brought up Campbell, and the crazy thing is if you read my first book, you would be amazed at how it falls into the whole hero's journey.
Right.
Holy moly. I read that book after the fact, and I was just like, oh my God, the call of the hero. There's a blah, 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 blah. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh. I mean, that's the only cool thing is that, like even with Plato's allegory of the cave, I experienced that, and it's in the book. And I didn't know about the allegory of the cave until afterwards, because after you meet the big guy, you're doing a lot of research on everything, and I'm like, holy shit, there's the allegory of the cave in my fucking book, but it's a little bit different, but it's the same damn thing.
Right.
I'm like, that's the weird thing that I noticed after going through all my personal trials and tribulations, was that it's mostly been written about for centuries, for all of time.
The thing I really like about Campbell is that he also saw that there are these similarities across geographic distances and across temporal distances where these societies had no contact with each other. And why is it that these same ideas keep cropping up all over the world and all throughout time? And he said, there's got to be something about the human experience and the psyche of humans and what it means to live in this world that we all know and share and need. And he said, and if we can figure out what those things are, then maybe we can do a better job of meeting those needs. Because right now, the things that we're doing aren't always all that great, And so if we could figure it out a little bit better, then maybe we'll do better.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you on that. And that was the weirdest thing after what I went through, and then finding out it's been written about for thousands of centuries. And it's like, wait, that's okay, this is weird. So I don't know whether or not, I mean, personally, I think it's a plan that was made by an alien, because even in the Bible, God's mentioned as an alien.
Wait, so Ridley Scott was right?
Just once, that his thoughts are alien to us, but so I think, I mean, I don't know what the hell he's thinking about this Trump thing. If it's the full plan, I mean, I know we got choice, we got free will, but then if there's a plan, then how much free will do we actually have? And that's the tripping point. And I would love to write a screenplay for it. It's just, I don't have a millionaire budget guy's ear yet. I've had them, but oh my God, it doesn't work because,
Well, you want to pitch anything before we do our closing?
Okay, go to unearthedfilms.com for updates and to order straight from us. We're not the fastest on the planet, but you'll get some cool shit as bonus.
Maybe even stuff you never even asked for.
Yeah, well, that's what I usually do. Let me see. Keep an eye out for the next American Guinea Pig, and then keep an eye out for Serbian film. We got the extended cut. We got Profane Exhibit coming. We got Promudos.
Yeah, waiting on that one.
No Remorse. I'm going to announce a new movie here on October 31st, but I figured I'll take you guys a couple of days, maybe even a week to have this. So we just picked up Evil Dead Trap, 4K scan, blah, blah, blah. It'll be awesome.
Is that the thing that you're announcing on the 31st?
Yeah. I'm waiting on the fucking artwork.
Cool.
Damn artist is slow.
Yeah, we've got a buffer of episodes anyway, so this definitely isn't getting released before the 31st.
Haha. Okay, so Evil Dead Trap. Yes, we got the 4K scan. Da. Yeah, pick it up. Looks amazing. And a bunch of other shit in the works. New guinea pigs in the works. I mean, I got 2 new guinea pigs going right now. American guinea pigs.
2.
Hopefully one's done before the other.
That's going to be, what, 5 and 6?
Yeah. 5 and 6. I mean, I talked about wanting to get 8 of them done.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be stuck in American guinea pig heaven or hell, forever.
Any reason for 8?
Yeah. I mean, I want to do a comedy one, though.
Okay.
No, I mean the number 8. Any reason for the number 8?
Oh, just because it'd make a fatter box set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And the comedy one, I wanted to have 2 competing mad scientists who live across the road from each other, and they're both trying to outdo each other. I
like
think
Spy versus Spy, but with mad scientists.
Yeah. So I think that'd be a cool. If I go to 8, that's what I'll end up doing, and I'll direct it. I'm tired of directing. I want to bring other directors to the fold and push them out into the genre. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, Chris is looking to get out of IT.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of mad scientist could you be?
The maddest.
Well, no, they'd have to be totally insane. So,
have you met Chris?
I could do totally insane. I can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I can make that happen.
Send me your resume. Your mad scientist resume. Studying at Transylvanian College for 3 to 4 years.
Oh no, we're going full on crazy here. My resume will just be a picture of a GI Joe sticking halfway out of my asshole. I mean, that's all you need.
I was figuring a severed head.
That'd be cool. I mean, my sister is my sex robot. You're hired.
That almost ended up in a coffee spit take all over my fucking laptop just now.
Well, this has been great. Different, but great.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for joining our call.
Yeah,
being our guest. And thank you to anybody out there listening. Please do come visit us at horrormakesushappy.com. We'll have a schedule posted there to show who we're interviewing next, as well as the list of the people that we'd like to interview. If you can help us connect with any of those people, or if you know someone that you'd like to have added to the list, just let us know.
I know tons of people, man.
Bring it on. Bring it.
Check out the list.
Right.
You can also become a Patreon supporter. Link to our social media. Buy merch, please. Yes. In general, just come let us know how we're doing. HorrorMakesUsHappy.com.